It's a great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld Today. I'm B-Ron. Alongside me is my co-host for the morning, the big guy himself, Big Bob. Good morning, man. How you doing? Happy to be here with you.
I'm happy to be here with you too, B. Ron. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful, man. Doing wonderful. It's always a pleasure to have you here with me. Let's jump right into the show. It's so funny. It's not planned, I promise you.
Every
But
and
it seems like
I'm just gonna say they don't believe you. It doesn't matter. Just go ahead.
whenever we're on the show, man, whenever you're here, since we're in the talking about the Sixers, so we're gonna start doing that again this morning. So
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. So look, Kyle Lowry is coming home. Philadelphia native
Yeah.
returning to the 76ers after his contract was bought out by the Hornets after he got traded from Miami to Charlotte, bought him out. Became a free agent, all that stuff, and now he's with
Yep.
with the Sixers, man.
Yeah.
Um, go ahead.
So I mean, this is something kind of like the Buddy Hield situation. I mean, the Sixers have been spending the last 3 years trying to get Buddy. They spent the last 3 years trying to get Lowry. He's finally here, but the biggest issue that I have with it is Embiid is not there. So what are we really
Hmm.
going to get? Obviously, with the Buddy trade, the Sixers have broken their little bit of a losing streak. They're on a 2-game winning streak right now. Something's working. I just don't know right now with the addition of Buddy and the loss of Embiid. I just don't really know what Lowry is going to bring to the table. I'm happy that he's finally getting to play for his hometown team, especially because of how long they've been talking about it and how long
Hmm.
it's been rumored that they're trying to get him. They
Hmm.
finally got him. He's back home. He's going to have his number. Mo Bamba's given up number 7 so that
Yep.
Lowry can have it back. He's going to
Yep.
go to number 5, but uh, I'm excited that he's here, but I just don't know what kind of impact it's really going to have with Embiid out.
Right, and that was actually gonna be that was gonna be my point of discussion was now that he's back playing in front of his home and his for his hometown team and that kind of I think that could uh increase his performance playing
Yeah,
for his hometown team. Do you see that happening for Lowry?
for sure. And I think obviously having a familiar face in Nick Nurse there, I think that's going to be a big step for Lowry. Obviously, he hasn't been blowing anybody away statistically this season. 8.2 points a game, 4 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 1.1 steals. He's not blowing the stat sheet away, but nobody's really been asking him to. And he's not necessarily going to have to here for the Sixers. The Sixers have a deep backcourt, but I think that having Maxi and Buddy and Kelly, now adding Lowry, I feel like their backcourt's going to be even scarier. It's just again, it's finding how they're all going to mesh and how are you going to feed all these different mouths. But I don't think they're really going to get away from what they've been doing all season. With
Hmm.
again, run it through Maxi whenever Embiid's not there, and then Kelly Oubre Jr. He picks it up uh, whenever he needs to. He was a big surprise at the beginning of the season before his alleged hit and run. I don't know what to believe about that, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
Again, it's a great addition. I just don't see where he fits right now, but he's going to come in and probably give the Sixers another potential 20-point score when they need one. So it's a
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, and looking at his career totals, whatnot. He's now in his 18th season, which to me is kind of crazy. I feel like time's kind of flown by that he's
Yeah,
already in his 18th season. It feels like just yesterday he's with the Raptors and kind of him and DeMar DeRozan over there were doing their thing over there in Toronto. But he's averaging 14.4 points in his career, 4.3 rebounds, 6.2 assists. Uh, he's played for Memphis, Houston, Toronto, and Miami, and now 76. So he's a six-time All-Star as well.
yeah, oh yeah,
So like this to me doesn't feel like a situation where you're getting a player who is on the decline, a
right,
superstar player who's on their decline. This feels like a player who is gonna come in and definitely come in
yep,
and help out in a big way. Um, it's not like the Wizards getting Michael Jordan, way back when. That's the only thing I can compare it to for me.
I mean, I don't know. So right now you're comparing Kyle Lowry to Michael Jordan, so I'm not really sure how much faith I have in what you're saying this morning, B. Ron. So I don't know if you haven't had your coffee or what, or if you took something you shouldn't have. But comparing those two aren't really. It's not really fair to Kyle Lowry at all. But no,
No,
I,
no, no,
I see what
no,
you.
no.
But you're
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, though.
no, I see what you're saying. But speaking, I mean, Kyle Lowry being in there for 18 years is shocking. The other thing that
Mhm.
former Sixer Thaddeus Young, I can't believe he's been in the league since 2007. I was reading up on him last night again because he just signed I forget who he just signed a contract with, the Suns. I believe he just signed a contract with the Suns. It's like he's been in the league since 2007. It's crazy to me how long some of these guys have been in the league. And you just don't hear about
Yeah.
it. You got them role players. You had those role players. I was disappointed when the Sixers let him go, but during the whole the process,
Yeah.
whether you loved
Yeah,
it or not,
process error, yeah.
during Hinkie's process, we let a lot of players go that I really really liked, and they've been productive for other teams. But that's Kyle Lowry coming. You can't have too much leadership, too many good leaders on the
Right.
floor, and Lowry, regardless of what he brings, he's bringing a lot of leadership.
Yeah, I think he does bring a lot of veteran leadership to a locker room, and him. It once Embiid comes back and he's healthy. Uh, I
Next
think
season.
that I think that I think that that's gonna be a fun combination of players to
Mhm.
watch. Lowry, Maxey, Embiid, those three guys. I think it'll be fun to watch going forward.
Tobias.
I'm
I
sure.
mean, they got some talent.
Yeah,
They got some
yeah.
talent.
They absolutely do, 100%, man, 100%. Well, look, let's switch gears because, now that Super Bowl's behind us and everything and all that stuff, blah, 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 Pat Mahomes to go, all of that. Spring training is right around the corner, and I'm incredibly excited about it. Shohei and the Dodgers are getting ready to go here. And pitchers and catchers on the report. The Dodgers are one of the only teams who kind of reported early. They started on the 9th of February, really. But pitchers and catchers are starting to report between the 9th and the 15th. And then you'll see the rest of the players come in between the 14th and the 20th for various teams around the league. Want to kind of get your overall thoughts on spring training in general? Is it one of the things where it's too long? Do you think it's too short? That kind of thing, because the Cactus League starts on February 22nd, but the Grapefruit League starts on the 23rd, and both of those run until about the 26th when spring training officially ends. So there's a good amount of time between now and you know the regular season starting at the end of March, because the first opening day game is March 28th.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's anything. It's still the off season. There's no such thing as too long, too short. It gives everybody a time to really mesh. You mentioned the Dodgers. They're gonna, although they have a star coming in, Otani. They have the uh, Yamamoto coming over from
Yep,
China. I mean, they're going to have to mesh. You don't just plug players in. I think it was the
absolutely not.
2009 Eagles showed you that you just can't bring all these stars in and you're
Yeah.
just going to have a superstar team. Sorry, Jalen. Um, the it, it it's a good amount of time. It's like people did complain about like in SNFL, like you or sorry SFL. My bad. Don't shoot the messenger. They complain about the preseason. They're there's 4 preseason games. I get it, injuries, blah blah blah. I mean,
Yeah.
but it gave you a chance to see these players that weren't really going to get an opportunity to probably be on the team anyways. But you got to see some fresh faces, and I think with spring training and stuff, you get to see fresh faces. You get to see some guys that you're never going to really see, but it gets their name out there. So they might catch on, just because they don't catch on with whatever team they're on in spring training. They might show it a little bit that another team's going to give them a chance. So I think the length is fine. It gives people a chance to get eyes on other people. But yeah, I mean, again, you need that time to be able to mesh with your team. Even if you're a team that's been together a long time, players get a little bit older. Athleticism drops a little bit. You need that time to be able to understand. Okay, this guy lost a step. What am I going to have to do to pick up for that lost step of his? So
Hmm.
I think it's fine. I mean, there's obviously a lot of good storylines coming into uh, Major League Baseball this season. Get the Otani and Yamamoto joining the Dodgers. My Pirates probably having another losing season, but I digress from that. But you're probably what? You're probably a Nationals fan, right?
Orioles fan.
Orioles. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry about
Yeah,
that.
Orioles. Well, look, man, don't forget, they made the playoffs last season, and they have a very young, very talented team. And I think that if they've got a new pitcher in there who's probably gonna be the ace of the staff this season. His name is escaping me at the moment. But I think that they'll be a team to look out for this coming season, and I'm very excited. And I do think the spring training is one of those things where you need baseball. You need a little bit more time, I think, to
Mhm.
get a lot more of your reps in and that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot more rust that needs to be shaken off.
Yeah.
In baseball in terms
Well,
of,
let me ask you, B. Ron. Do you
yeah,
think who's more important, the pitcher or the catcher?
catcher, catcher. I think the
Okay.
catcher more important. Yeah, I do.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Never played this myself. I'm left-handed, couldn't play catcher, but anyway, let's move on, shall we? Let's talk some SimWorld Prep because last night we saw some games on SimWorld TV that weren't the most competitive games in the world, but I think both of them in their own ways were statement games. I want to focus on one in particular, the Heartland Zombie Stars and Gulf Coast Lockdown. Because,
Yeah.
Gulf Coast came in, and I was kind of expecting them to play competitively against Heartland, but it never really happened. Heartland kinda ran away with it early, and then, the final ended up being 60 to 77, sure, but that doesn't account for, what the game actually looked like on the floor. And that win last night for Heartland gave them 5 in a row, puts them at the second longest win streak in Simone Prep right now. And look, Bob, let's play a little game of true or false this morning. They deserve more attention now because they haven't really been given it despite their record and everything. But with the win last night against Gulf Coast, they deserve it now. True or false?
They've deserved it all season, but I don't necessarily know a Gulf Coast win at this point in Gulf Coast season is really something that you want to hang your hat on. I'm not saying that Gulf Coast is a bad team by any means. They still have Kai Killens, who is one of the top players in all of SimWorld Prep. But Gulf Coast they've lost a bunch of games here as of
This is
late. They
their third
started
in a
off
row.
Yeah, they've started off really strong, but the last couple of weeks, yeesh. Again, Heartland they deserve the talk. Period. I'm not going to say the Gulf Coast game is going to make that statement true for me, but it is true that they deserve more talk. Benari James, I mean, he's going to do what he does. The return of Platy Young, that is
Yeah.
obviously a solid return for them. He had himself
Mhm.
14 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, he had a solid game. They have Jaquan Johnson, who is an extremely talented player. The Hilarios, there's only two left, but the Hilarios add a little bit to them. Obviously, Barkley didn't have a stellar game last night. He only played 7 minutes, so he still had 6 points. But yeah, Heartland deserves more talk than they're getting. But again, and I'm going to go back to it, and I'm not going to complain about it though. The reason they're not getting talked about a whole lot is because they're just playing ball, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I agree. There's nothing wrong with that, and I feel like they should be getting a lot more talk than they were before, or after this game. I feel like, yeah, you could say that because Gulf Coast is struggling, that that doesn't really doesn't change things. But I feel like because Gulf Coast is a team who we kind of saw burst onto the scene, and sure, it's only their third loss in a row, and they've had some bad losses. Uh, Heartland, in my opinion, deserves a lot more flack than a lot more talk than what they're getting. Hopefully, they do get a lot more of it as time goes on. But that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all for listening, watching. We appreciate all the support. Remember, hit the subscribe button on the channel, like the video, and hit the bell so to know when all of our videos and all of our streams, all of our shows go live for you here on SimWorld TV. And remember, guys, SimWorld is the only place where you can see the game,
See the
be
game,
the
be
game.
the
We'll
game,
see you tomorrow.
baby. Woo!
This has been a presentation of SimWorld Sports.